So welcome back guys to We Talk Boxing, and this is my pre-fight video in regards to this weekend's up and coming fight between Arthur Beterbiev versus Callum Smith. Now as always guys, please subscribe to my channel and stay updated with the latest videos. So Arthur Beterbiev and Callum Smith both return to the ring this weekend, as each other, pretty much both boxers go head to head for the unified titles for the IBF, WBC, and WBO light heavyweight titles. Arthur Beterbiev is the current champion and is pretty much, by some, the main man in the division. The Ring magazine have him ranked number 2, whereas Callum Smith is ranked number 3 currently in the Ring magazine ratings. Callum Smith is also ranked quite highly amongst all the other governing bodies. He's currently number 1 with the WBC, he's number 2 with the WBO, and number 12 with the IBF. Currently, as of January, he's not ranked in the WBA rankings, but again, he's got some good pedigree. You know what I mean? Surrounding his name. He's obviously fought against some good opposition fighters as well. He's been in there with the likes of obviously George Groves. I remember that fight. That was a very good fight for him at the time. That was in Saudi Arabia, I think it was. And it was that like Muhammad Ali Super 6 or whatever type of tournament, where that was the final, I believe, between him and George Groves, and I thought it would have been a tougher fight than what it was, but obviously it didn't turn out that way, because obviously he managed to stop George Groves in the 7th round, and yeah, brilliant performance from him, and yeah, good performance on that day. But just prior to that George Groves fight, he obviously fought an Eric Skoland and some other German guy, I can't remember his name, leading up to that George Groves fight, and they were some tough fights for him. And I think it was the Skoglund guy, whatever his name is. I'm sure it was him, or was it the other guy? But one of the two. The fight went a distance, and literally it was like neck and neck, and it was so close on the scorecards where, you know what I mean, like from my point of view, I was like, did he win that sort of thing? And he was getting caught with some big shots in that fight as well. But obviously he managed to come through it. It's a fair play to him in that. But he's been in there with other people as well. John Ryder. He went the distance with John Ryder. And then he went in there with, obviously at the time, the pound for pound guy, Saul Alvarez. And again, he lost that on points. And he did get beat up in that fight, to be fair. Didn't really do anything. He was the bigger man. Didn't really trouble Canelo Alvarez. Canelo made it look quite comfortable. But in regards to Callum Smith, as I said, this is his first fight back into the ring, and he hasn't fought in just over about 18 months, 19 months, give or take. His last fight, I haven't done the maths, but his last fight was in 2022, August. And yeah, I can't pronounce the guy that he fought. He was only a 4-rounder, and that was in Saudi Arabia. So in regards to ring rust and stuff like that, we don't really know how he's gonna fare in this fight. We don't know what type of Callum Smith we're going to get, and the reason for the big delay, you know what I mean, between 2022 and now, is mainly because of injuries and postponements in fights. And obviously, this fight between Beterbiev was meant to happen last year, towards the end of last year, but Beterbiev got injured and obviously got now rescheduled for January. So yeah, I can't blame him for obviously sitting out and waiting his time, because it is, you know what I mean, as I said, the unified titles. You got all 3 belts on the line, so why risk having a fight interim wise and losing when you're going to be pretty much facing the pound for pound or the second best fighter in your division? So it just doesn't make sense. Beterbiev, on the other hand, his record is a perfect one, 19-0. Whereas Callum Smith is obviously slightly different. He's obviously 29-1. He obviously suffered that one loss, which was to Canelo Alvarez, and that was a points loss as well. So you can't really say much. But realistically, both guys have got a perfect record. Obviously, Beterbiev did perfect, but Callum Smith is perfect as well. He obviously lost to Canelo Alvarez and pound for pound guy at the time. So apart from that, it's near enough a perfect record in my eyes. But Beterbiev's been in there with some good guys himself. His last fight was against Anthony Yarde, and what a performance that was against Anthony Yarde, because this, from my point of view, this was Anthony Yarde's best performance, but it was also Beterbiev's good performance as well, because he was, for some, losing on the scorecards and managed to claw his way back into the fight and managed to stop Anthony Yarde in the 8th round, and that's what shows how good of a champion you are, where you come through a little bit of adversity, where you're taking some punishment, and he managed to obviously somehow pull out the victory out the bag, and that's what he did there. But yeah, it was a good performance from Yarde, and even better performance from Beterbiev. But previous to that, he obviously fought Joe Smith Jr., demolished Joe Smith Jr. And the mistake which Joe Smith Jr. did in that fight, he tried to fight fire with fire, and obviously he came off second best. And it's a shame, really, because I honestly thought that was going to be probably his toughest fight, Beterbiev's, because Joe Smith could bang. And I just thought that maybe he'll probably wait a little bit, not go all guns blazing. Maybe try and maybe 3rd round, 4th round, then try and open up a little bit. But he did it from round 1. Got caught a few times with some heavy shots. It was wobbled, looked out of it sort of thing, and then obviously made it for round 2 and then just got punished again. But it is what it is. It didn't turn out to be a tough fight for Beterbiev. And he's been in there with other guys as well, Beterbiev. He's been in there with Marcus Brown, which was a decent guy at the time. A good prospect. Another one in 2018 was Callum Johnson as well. At one point in Callum Johnson's career, he was tipped to be the next best thing, really. And obviously, just injuries and stuff like that, it just wasn't to be, and such a shame, really. But yeah, I'd probably say Beterbiev's resume at the moment, I'd probably say he's got better names on it, than Callum Smith. But both guys are where they are, They're, obviously, Beterbiev's a champ, and Callum Smith is ranked quite highly and is the mandatory for Beterbiev. So both guys deserve to be where they are. Now, in regards to Beterbiev, is 19-0, 100% KO rate. Started his career in 2013, and he's around 5'11", 5'12", give or take, with a 73-inch reach, and he fights out of Canada as well, and he's 38 years old. So he is on the older side, I should say. So yeah, let's see what he's kind of got left in the tank. Callum Smith on the other side, obviously, is slightly the younger guy, but he, in terms of his height, he's 6'3". He's orthodox. He's got a 72 or just over 72 percent KO rate as well. So he has got a good KO percentage about him. So he can bang. Started his career in 2012. 78 each inch according to BoxRec, and he's 33 years old, but he's been inactive, whereas Beterbiev's only had that one fight last year and one fight previous to that. Smith hasn't fought since 2022, so that could maybe come back and bite him in the arse. Now, in regards to my predictions, I'd love to say Callum Smith would win this fight. He has got a chance. He's got a puncher's chance. I just can't see past Beterbiev. I think maybe Beterbiev will probably get caught at some point, probably get hurt, but I think he'll probably have enough to just come through it and somehow stop Callum Smith. I can't see the fight going the distance. I feel as if he will stop Callum Smith. Probably say more of the latter. From round 6 onwards, I reckon he'll probably stop Callum Smith. From my point of view, Callum Smith is probably the best of the Smith brothers. And I'd probably say, in the light heavyweight division, I'd probably say that is in the British ranking-wise, is probably the best of the bunch. You know what I mean? You've got the likes of obviously Dan Aziz, Joshua Boazzi, what's his name? Anthony Yarde, Lyndon Arthur, who we saw recently fought against Bivol. You know what I mean? I would put, as it stands right now, I would put Callum Smith probably the best of the bunch. And depending on how this fight goes with Beterbiev, if he does well-ish, we could probably see at some point maybe a domestic clash between him and maybe Anthony Yarde. I think that would probably be a very, very good fight and a big fight in the UK. I wouldn't like to see that fight in Saudi Arabia. I think that fight would probably do some good numbers. Probably sell out probably one of the arenas in the UK, because obviously it would probably say who is the best light heavyweight. We are about to see, obviously, Boazzi versus Dan Aziz, so I will do a video regarding these two, so stay tuned for that. But obviously, the winner of these two could potentially maybe try and entice Yarde into a fight, or maybe Callum Smith, depending on if he's able to beat Beterbiev and he has the belts. But I'm guessing Boazzi and Aziz, but I will do a video, Boazzi and Aziz will want a title shot, so they might try and go down that route as well. But domestic clash-wise, I'd love to see any of these four get it on with each other, because we haven't seen it, and it's something new. But anyhow, this is my pre-fight video. I do feel as if Beterbiev's going to win. I think he's going to win by KO, and probably from round 6 onwards. It could stop him earlier. You know what I mean? It's boxing. And obviously, Callum Smith can stop Beterbiev. As I said, he is probably the best of the British bunch. But I think with the inactivity, and I don't know, I just feel as if Beterbiev, you can't see past Beterbiev, because he's been there, he's done it, and you know what I mean? When you think he's going to lose, he somehow claws it back, and he punches with both hands, and he just comes forward. He's like a Terminator, and he's got power in both hands. So I just feel as if at some point he will get to him. It's like Canelo Alvarez. But if Canelo Alvarez fights pretty much most people, in my mind, I'm like, okay, at some point Canelo's going to break that distance. He's going to start going to the body or going to the head, and how are they going to handle his power? Yes, his opponents have got power, they've got speed, they've got skill, and yes, they could hurt Canelo and stuff, but I always kind of look at it that how could they handle Canelo's? And that's the same way how I'm looking at this fight. How is Callum Smith going to handle Beterbiev's power and come forward and work rate and energy, and his durability as well. But anyway, guys, I don't want to long this out too much. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win and how? By KO, points, stoppage? Do you feel as if Callum Smith can do it? Do you know what I mean? Do you feel that he can stop the old and probably inactive at the same time Beterbiev? Or do you feel as if Beterbiev is just going to walk straight through Callum Smith? And who would you like both guys to go up against next? Let me know your thoughts, guys. And as always, please subscribe and comment. Bless.